Welcome to the channel. My name is Ryan Abear, and today's meditation is the easiest way to make a living. And if you're one of these people that works hard for the money, then listen up. I've got a different spin on this that I want to share with you today. Now, I have talked about this before, so if you're familiar with my channel, you may hear some familiar themes. Long story short, if you want to make a living, you must make a loving first. And if you want to hear what I mean by that, don't just tune this out. The ego's going to want to say, no, who's going to support me? I can't just do what I love and enjoy it and love life and play and give up the need for survival. And I'm going to say, yes, you can. You wouldn't be listening to these words if you weren't contemplating such a bold step. The way that we see the easiest way to make a living is this. How can I make the most amount of money in the least amount of time? And in the easiest ways. So right then and there, you circumnavigate the most important part of this puzzle. Is that you want to make love, you don't want to make money. But nobody wants to hear this message. Nobody wants to hear the message, make love, not war. Nobody wants to hear the message, make passion, make joy, make play your profession. It's interesting how we call it making a living and making a profession. A profession is like a statement, a declaration. If your profession is working hard for the money, we know who your God is. Income. And you're going to work really hard for that enslaving God, as many people do. I've told this story before, I'm going to tell it again, but my ex-brother-in-law came to visit some time ago. And he's a welder. And we were talking about his job, and I said, Jason, do you really enjoy welding? And he was I knew just in his reaction, he wasn't like, oh yeah, and we can do this. And no, it was kind of like, it pays well. And it's hot. And it's difficult. But it pays well. The hours are grueling, you gotta work in the hot sun, but it pays well. Friends, that don't pay well. If it's hard, if it's grueling, if it doesn't make any sense, that's not payment. The money that you receive from your job is not payment. Joy is the payment. Joy and love is the wealth. Ease is the wealth. When you're shopping around and ways of supporting yourself, you must first understand that you are supported. Period. You are supported. The universe supports herself. You must acknowledge that you're a part of the system that is taking care of itself, and it is taken care of. And I am free and independent from this survival mentality that I have to work for my living. I have to work hard for the money. I have to be a slave for the income. I would imagine that if you polled the majority of the working force, you get the same answer that Jason gave me. It pays well. The hours are good. I get the weekends off. That's not payment. To me. And then I asked him, I said, Jason, if you could do anything that you wanted to and really would enjoy, what would it be if money were no object? And that's the question. What would you do if money were no object? And he said he would start, he has some land in rural Colombia on a beautiful piece of mountainous property. And he wants to start he wants to build a bunch of cabins and rent them out as a kind of like not a retreat center, but a place for people to go vacation and hang out, and like cabins in the woods kind of idea. They really would like to do that, but he's got to make some money. He's got to work for his God before he can work for his God. Now, which God do you serve? This is another take on the parable of two masters. Are you a slave to the income, or are you a slave to the real God, the one that wants you to go for it? The one that's inside saying, if money were no object, what would you do? See, that's the real world. The real world is the world that everything's living on the edge, living on a prayer. It might fall apart. We've got to see how it goes in the moment. That's the real world. The false world is the world where once I get it all together, I'll be able to do what I want. That's the false world. And the real world is saying, go for it. You got everything you need. You can just go to Colombia right now and live in a mobile home and start getting the land ready and do this and do that. You have the first step, which is the dream. That's all you need. All you need is the dream. And it's fueled by love. You make a loving, not a living. If you're still wondering how you're going to support yourself, you're not there yet. If you're still wondering how you're going to survive, you don't get it. If you think that people like me who say, follow your love or let love lead you to your destiny, think I have piles of money in the bank and I've got a sugar daddy or I've got a trust fund. You think all those things, but I don't. I'm making a loving right now. This is what I'm doing. I'm making a profession out of speaking on YouTube. I'm loving it first, and then it loves you back. You lead with love, and it loves you back. So, like the Beatles say, all you need is love. That's the easiest way to make a living, but people don't understand. And you can't convince them otherwise. How do you make a living? Well, you got to go shop for a job that has good hours, good benefits, good pay, flexible vacations. All the so-called benefits of being a slave. Why not just make everything beneficial? And if you enjoy riding horses, find a way to make a profession out of riding horses. You'll know. If you want to run an Airbnb in a rural part of Colombia, you'll know. See, the thing is, we deny what we love in pursuit of what we really don't want. Money. Because we mistaken wealth for money. And the real world is the experience of doing it right now with no resources whatsoever. In the moment, impromptu, improvisatory, whose line is it anyway, and go. You mean live on a wing and a prayer? Basically, that's making a loving. It might fall apart, sure might. But so will your so-called secure job. You're going to fall apart. You're going to be locked up in the vault of being an enslaved employee working a job you really don't like because it pays well. You're working for the benefits, but you're not getting the benefits. The only way to get benefits is in what I would call a win-win situation, and doing what you love and sticking with it, letting love lead the way. You start a YouTube channel. Nobody's paying for this. It's free. But I am loving it. I am getting paid right now. Drinking my coffee, talking to people about how frivolous and free life can be. I have a blog. I've been writing on my blog for about 4 years and haven't received a dime. My YouTube channel is only a few months old. No money. And my book is not even complete. I have no income in sight. And that is making a loving. Well, the income is not in sight. It's not in your mind anymore. What's in your mind is your love. What's in your heart is in your love. Okay, you want to start up, my friend Alex, he would love to start a bakery. Bake a cake and give it away. Make some cookies and give your friends cookies, and then they'll love your cookies so much you can start charging them for it. That's how it works. A side hustle, if you want to, or you can devote your attention to it full time. That's what a full-time job is, devoting yourself full-time to love. This job I am doing right now has no benefits. It has no benefits set up in it structurally. I create the benefits as I go along. I don't make a YouTube video every single day. If I don't want to, I don't. I let the Spirit lead. I let the moment lead. As many of you know, I am a choir director. I do that now part-time. I used to do it full-time. And choirs are notorious for believing that the music is on the page. See, the music, in many ways, the sheet music, you can imagine a piece of sheet music, that's kind of how it goes, but it's only a skeletal representation of the actual experience itself. The music lives in real time and in real space. And it's very, if you're ever performing a piece of music, you know it's like living on a prayer. It could fall apart. But that's where the real world is. It could fall apart. The real world is in the moment as the music is being made. That's where the music is. The piece of paper is a skeleton. It's dead. That's a dead form. The real world lives as it's being made. What do they call it? I don't know where this comes from. It's like you're building your airplane while you fly. You're jumping before you have a parachute. You're building it as you go. All that kind of stuff. How many people have done that? Live their life experimentally, testing whether or not love actually does lead the way. You're too scared to do that. You want the income to lead the way. You want the benefits to lead the way. You want the good hours to lead the way. You want the good boss to lead the way. Well, all that's in you. You have a good boss in you, the intuitive voice leading you, but it's going to lead you into the playfulness, into the darkness, into the good old college try. And it's going to lead you into living on a wing and a prayer. And you can trust a wing and a prayer more than you can trust the income, I can tell you that. And that's all led by love. Unconditional love. I'd rather be a slave to that because it pays. It's a win-win, win-win, win. It's always winning. Love always wins. If the money wins, you really lose. And once you start getting the hang of living on a wing and a prayer and really living in the real world as it unfolds, you get comfortable there. It's more exciting. Everybody else is dealing in dead things. They're buried in what's on the page, what's in the bank account. Those are dead things. That's the skeleton of what it's all about. The real wealth is in the real world. Out. Doing it now. Without a single stitch of evidence to show that it's going to work. Except love. And love is all you need, as the Beatles tell us. So you end up making a loving, and you keep your eye on that beautiful, beautiful truth. And then another thing you realize is that you're not working hard for the money. You're not working at all. You're not making a living. Love is making you. It's very simple. Love is leading you. Then the money follows. If the money leads, it's like dangling a carrot in front of a mule, and you get stuck on the wheel, chasing what gets further and further and further away. The easiest way to make a living is to quit making a living. Stop and pause and figure out what lights you up. Painting lights me up. Building lights me up. Talking on YouTube lights me up. Starting my own business lights me up. Follow that light. It's led by love. Feels like it's on a wing in a prayer, but it's more exhilarating, more exciting, and much more rewarding. That's where the real wealth is. In the real world, in real time, and in real space where something can go wrong. And often it does, but you keep trying, and you keep going, and you let love lead the way. Stumble after stumble after stumble. It still works. It always wins. The easiest way to make a living is to drop that whole notion and make a loving. Be a loving. Be love, and let it lead the way. All right, friends. Think about those things. I'm going to finish my coffee, spend some time with the dog, and it's all in a day's work. It's all in a day's love. If you enjoyed what you heard today and you'd like to check out my blog, I would encourage you to log on to mymorningmotivator.com. Please sign up for daily updates. Hit like and subscribe. Please make some comments. Love to hear your thoughts on this topic. My name is Ryan Hebert, and we'll see you next time.